Hey, good evening, everybody, on this Super Bowl Sunday edition of Pro Wrestling Jam Session. I am your host, the illustrious one, JP Steele. Joining me, as always, my tag team partner, the Southern Fried Stud himself, the notorious Joey V, Joey Violet. I gave you a couple of preview, but I forget what they were because I'm a couple intoxicated shots into a Super Bowl that was, well, I don't know how to describe it. It was something. I'll just put it that way. Joe, yeah, just a couple.
Okay.
I'm a Tiffany trim into a six bender. I'll just put it that way, and not nothing illegal. I promise you, folks. I don't look crazy stuff. And of course, also joining us at this time is Doug Flutie's favorite fan. He's a stand for Doug Flutie. By the way, the real champion now, the new WWE 24 champion. He pinned R-Truth. He won his first title of his career, and now this guy's his number one fan. He's an expert on the NFL. He's an expert on Sasha Banks, and he loves all things St. Louis. He is MJ Gunner himself, Matty Lindsay. Matt, what's going on, brother?
What's going on, my friends? Not really that big on football, but I come for the wrestling, so...
Look, you're stoked about our getting beat by Doug Flutie, admit it. I mean, Doug Flutie winning the 24/7 title. We told you that in chat, and you put a bunch of smiles and happy faces.
Oh, yeah, man. I can't believe it. Like, Doug Flutie, man, he's going to go down as his best 24/7 champion in history. Hall of Famer right there, man.
I can't wait for the Doug Flutie Gronk match at WrestleMania. What are you talking about, man? I mean, that's going to sell out. That's going to sell out Raymond James Stadium. Forget the Super Bowl tonight. I mean, we're going to see Hogan Andre levels when Doug Flutie takes Gronk, man. Everybody's going to have their Flutie flake boxes ready to go.
Are you talking Hulk and Andre in attendance or in match quality level here?
Well, I mean, we know the match quality is going to be Listen, when Doug Flutie won the belt, Dave Meltzer got on his wrestling radio show and said that this match is going to be he already gave it 10 stars. He said, forget the 5 stars. It's going to be 10 stars. He said, forget Omega Okada. Forget Savage Steamboat. I can't wait to see Doug Flutie take on Rob Gronkowski. Okay. We just need Mojo Rawley as a special guest referee. That's all we need.
Bro,
why not just make it a triple threat?
On the cake.
No. Wait a minute. Forget it. We don't need Mojo as special guest referee. You know who we need a special guest referee?
Who?
We need Mongo McMichael. We need Mongo. That would make this match even better.
Here comes Mongo.
Because Mongo won a Super Bowl too back in 1985. See, we need Mongo in there. Actually, forget referee. Mongo needs to be in the match. Then it'll be a 20-star. See, you guys didn't realize there, Gabe. You know, and me and Gabe, we do updates for RGTR here every day, and we were talking to Matt, which, by the way, folks, Sons of Legends, the hit radio show that takes the podcast world by storm, will be coming soon to the RGTR airways. We were actually discussing contract negotiations to bring that show here to RGTR, and we were talking about stuff that involved the late Dustin Diamond. We'll be talking about him on the show, and a programming that involved Dustin and Hulk Hogan and Brutus Beefcake and Nasty Boy Brian Knobs. And believe me, this show was just as good as it sounded, folks. Trust me, it was. This show made All in the Family look like something you see on public access TV. It was that good. And Gabe said very succinctly that JP will be on here talking about crap that nobody else gives a damn about, but he cares in his mind, and that's all that matters because it's his damn show. Well, that's what we're talking about here. But things we will talk about here on this program. We're going to talk about Raw. We're going to talk about SmackDown. We're going to talk about a tragic loss in the pro wrestling community. Another legend has moved on. We're going to talk about a name that I think we're all familiar with, that it did move on, that did have some ties to pro wrestling, even though it was a very brief, fleeting appearance in pro wrestling on a show involving Hulk Hogan. We'll talk about that. But we're going to start it off by talking about the Super Bowl. Just wrap things up, Matt. I know you don't really care too much about this, even though you're Doug Flutie's biggest fan, and I know you probably stashed away a couple of St. Louis Rams jerseys and some Mongo jerseys as well. But Super Bowl, though, just wrapped up a little under an hour ago. Tom Brady, man. Whoever said you can't teach an old dog new tricks never met Thomas Edward Brady. 43 years old, switches teams, goes to Tampa Bay. And I know, look, people will say, and I agree, Jameis Winston threw for 5,000 yards with the same team last year. They aren't exactly, devoid of crappy wide receivers. But Brady goes there, leads a team that missed the playoffs last year, leads them to a Super Bowl. and they wound up winning this year, and not just winning by a close one. This was think about all the Super Bowls that Tom Brady's won in his career. This is number 7, more than any NFL franchise has ever won. Every Super Bowl Tom Brady's won, Joe Violet, have been by the hair of his derriere, for lack of a better term. I don't think Tom Brady's ever won a Super Bowl by more than 3 points. They went in there and beat the dog breaks off of Kansas City tonight. They went in there and stuck the mud hole into them. I mean, this was
yeah, they have been really close, haven't they?
I'm trying to think. They beat the Rams by 3 the first time they beat the Rams, right?
Right.
They beat the St. Louis Rams by 3. I'm sorry to bring that nightmare up, Joe. They beat the St. Louis Rams by 3. They beat Carolina by 3. They beat Philadelphia in their first matchup by 3. They beat Atlanta. They beat Atlanta by, I think, by a touchdown. So that was close. They beat Los Angeles by 7, I think. It was. I mean, that game was. No, they beat them by 10.
Now that that was a nightmare.
That game sucked. That game. I mean, I'm sorry to be vulgar, but that game. I wanted to. That game made me want to stick my head in a toilet bowl. That King Kong Bundy had just used and flush repeatedly. That game was just ridiculous. But I got to tell you, man, this one on the disappointment charts. You had Brady versus Mahomes. You had the GOAT versus a guy who's well on his way to being the GOAT. We all had, in terms of pure Super Bowl matchups, quarterback-wise versus quarterback, you aren't going to get better than this. You haven't had a matchup this good maybe since Roethlisberger versus Aaron Rodgers back in 2011. And I dare argue this is better than that. I mean, right now, Pat Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. Tom Brady is, the greatest of all time. This is, many people thought, a passing and a torch game. We all thought coming in, you're going to see a 38-35 game. You're going to see, 600, 700, 800 yards passing. You're going to see this offensive slugfest. Patrick Mahomes had 0 touchdowns. Patrick Mahomes coming into the fourth quarter had 80 yards passing. And that's a testament to Todd Bowles. If anybody deserved the MVP, it wasn't Tom Brady, who, by the way, got number 5 in his career. It's Todd Bowles, man. That defense was all up. I mean, they had Pat Mahomes running for his life. They had Pat Mahomes, even though the sacks weren't all accumulated. They had Pat Mahomes on his back more than a 23-year-old girl on a casting table. I mean, he was not able to get any offense in. They shut that offense down. And Kansas City offense, that is one of the hardest teams to stop on the offensive side of the ball. We've seen great defenses like Buffalo unable to figure them out. Tampa Bay's defense, who, by the way, 2 weeks ago let Taylor Heineke, who was playing in the XFL for Vince McMahon, throw the football over them, just completely shut Patrick Mahomes down. Crazy.
You say that this was supposed to be a passing the torch kind of game. I'd say this was more of a message being sent by Brady saying to Patrick Mahomes, you might run the yard someday, but that day ain't today.
I think that's a fair analysis. I think that's a fair statement. And look, Brady said at the end of the game, what do you figure? All right, you got number 7. You've passed the Steelers. You've passed the Patriots. Okay, you're done. He said, I'm not done. I got more to go. I've got something left in the tank. And look, I mean, you might as well go until you say it's time to go. I mean, I've never seen nothing like this. These quarterbacks, this man is 43 years old, ladies and gentlemen, and he still looks as good as he did when he was 23. It's crazy.
Now, let's look at the other side of the coin here, JP, with Patrick Mahomes. You talked about how they had him running all night long. There were 2 dropbacks. Where the scary thing was when he launched the ball after getting rushed back about 10, 15 yards, he almost made those passes. He almost connected with them. That's how scary good this guy is.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and listen, he was only sacked 3 times in the game. Okay. This ought to tell you, that also, as Joe Violet said, ought to tell you how good of a quarterback he is, how quick his release is, how good his scrambling ability is. Any other quarterback, you're talking, I mean, he was hurried at least a dozen times. You're talking any other quarterback, you're probably talking double-figure sacks. This guy was running for his life, and I mean, they didn't. People could sit there and say, and I'm seeing people online saying silly nonsense. He's not a franchise guy. Listen, there's not another quarterback in the NFL that would have done better under the same circumstances. This was a as good of an effort from a Tampa defense as you will see. They completely put that entire Tampa Bay, that entire Kansas City offense on alert, and they shut them down. They closed the door on them. They knew what you had to do is put the clamps on that defense and on that offense, and that is not an easy thing to do. And that offense they're fast, but they've also got Kelsey, who was the only pass catcher that seemed to do anything, and they even kept him under 100 yards. I mean, they had nothing on the offensive side of the ball, and that's a testament to the pass rush. I mean, White was all over the field. Levante David was all over the field. This defense just hit on all cylinders, and I mean that's not on Mahomes. This guy did everything he could win this game. He didn't lose it. Tampa Bay's defense won it. Bottom line.
Now, something else I'd like to bring up that was a deciding factor in the game, the penalties. Now, I know there were a couple of penalties that were questionable, such as the end zone pass interference call. From what I understand, the NFL rule book reads that if a pass isn't catchable, the pass that you really can't call a pass interference call. I don't know exactly, how much where that line is drawn, but there were a couple of penalties, unnecessary penalties for unsportsmanlike conduct and for taunting, what have you, that really cost Kansas City. At times, they looked like they were very undisciplined, and I think that shot them in the foot as well.
I think so, and I'm going to come on here and say there were a couple of calls that were pretty bad against them, but look,
just a couple.
There were more than a couple. And even at the end, look, and I've had dealings with Bruce Arians. I mean, good guy. He tries to run a clean ship. He tries to run a disciplined ship. There's players at the end of the game, jaw jacking. Get the hell off the field. You've won the game. All right. You don't need to sit there and continue to gum flap. Okay. Look, it wasn't that long ago you were the Yuccaneers. Okay. Let's not sit there and act like, you're the Green Bay Packers of the freaking 60s or the Steelers of the 70s. Okay. No need for that stuff. But at the same time, you're Kansas City. You don't take the bait. All right. Andy Reid,
a friend of mine, act like you've been there before.
Exactly. And, Andy Reid's teams at the same time, you know what? You're the defending Super Bowl champions. Don't buy into this garbage. Don't buy into the swagger and the trash talk, and let them do their thing. Get off the field. Don't continue to play into it, because look, here's the bottom line, and let's just call this as it is. And this is every sport. LeBron James gets the same call. Sidney Crosby, and I'm a Sidney Crosby fan. Anybody that knows me knows that. I'm a Penguins fan. I mean, my JP Steele character, everybody, I wear a Penguins jersey for God's sakes, okay? But the bottom line is the superstars get, it's been this way since the beginning of time. Superstars get calls that other players don't get, okay? They look the other way. And, the team of the superstar gets the calls that other teams don't get. Tom Brady's going to get the benefit of the doubt, okay? This game was being played in Tampa. First time that it was played on the home field. Notice, I'm not saying it was the first time played in the home market, because it's not. It's the first time, though, it was played on the home field. So they're going to be a little bit lenient with the home team, okay? Don't give them any ammunition. Don't give them any reason to throw flags when they're already looking to do so.
Yeah, Matthew, for example, getting in Brady's face like that, what did he think was going to happen? Talking about that home cooking that you're referring to.
Yeah, that's like the honey badger. I mean, he's been around the block a while. He knows how this game works. He knew that ref had his hand in his pocket quicker than Matt Lindsay has his in his pocket when Sasha Banks comes on his TV screen. I mean, look, come on now. Come on.
Not with me.
I just wanted to make sure
you're awake, man.
I just wanted to make sure you're still awake over there.
Yeah, I'm listening. But yeah, I definitely get what you guys are saying about good defensive being the best offense pretty much. If you can prevent the other team from scoring 9 times out of 10, you're going to win,
You said you don't know football. A good defense will always be the good offense. See, you know what you're talking about. You're playing this low-key nonsense. I don't watch football. My lily white behind you don't.
Even a broken clock gets it right twice a day.
Yeah, a broken. You said a broken what, Joe? You're not allowed to say that stuff.
I said even a broken clock gets it right twice a day.
Clock. I thought you said something else. I'm like, you're not allowed to say that on RGTR, darn
it. No, that comes later.
It's common sense. If you can prevent the other team from scoring, then you'll win.
You can't score unless you score. What movie is that from? Does anybody know?
That's from John Madden.
Is that from John Madden? No, that's from American Pie. That's from American Pie. You can't score unless you score. Radio
sound logic. That sounds like very sound Bruce Arians logic, which obviously was applicable tonight.
Huh. By the way, Arizona Cardinals, good job forcing him into retirement. That's a fine job because, Steve Wilkes and the boy genius, Cliff King, have done a phenomenal job since taking over. You guys have won, 10 games since getting rid of Will Arians. Good job, guys. Real good job.
This begs the question, who's kicking themselves in the derriere more right now, them or Bill Belichick?
See, that's another bring. I'm glad you brought that up. Can we please stop this stupid, nonsensical, ridiculous argument that Tom Brady is a system quarterback? If it was ever killed before tonight, if it wasn't killed before tonight, it should be at right now. Tom Brady was not a system quarterback, ladies and gentlemen. He was the system. Okay. And I'm going to go on record and say this. I disliked Tom Brady, the athlete, before it became the fad. Okay. I'm a Miami Dolphins fan. I could not stand that guy from day one. Okay. I have been ingrained in my mind to hate the New England Patriots. I've disliked them since 1985. And Tom Brady has been the biggest thorn in my buttocks since, he won his first Super Bowl. Okay. But the bottom line is, Tom Brady, and we have this argument, well, Joe Montana won 4 Super Bowls and didn't lose any. Tom Brady lost 3. Yeah, and guess what? Tom Brady won the 10. Joe Montana won the 4. Tom Brady won 70% of his Super Bowls. Sit your behinds down.
Now, you said you don't like Tom Brady. I'm the opposite. He came from the University of Michigan. I'm originally from Michigan. And I can verify that he's shown this brilliance since day one.
Yeah, I mean, he has shown this brilliance. He showed it at University of Michigan. Unfortunately, Lloyd Carr didn't know his rump from a hole in the ground when it came to looking at the talent. He wanted to start Drew Henson and Brian Greasy, which I have
Lloyd Carr almost killed his chances of becoming a starter.
There's a reason there's a reason the guy was a 6th round pick and he got picked behind guys like Guido Carnazzi and Josh Heupel. I mean, that was a good pick, Miami. Thank you very much. We could have had Tom Brady, but we had to get Josh Heupel. I hear he's going to do a great job as head coach of Tennessee. But the bottom line is this, and I say this as a notorious Tom Brady professional disliker. I have no problems with the man personally. He's not the system. He was the system wherever he goes. And you can sit there and say, well, he had 3 great receivers. Sure, he did. But you know what? That team with 3 great receivers last year won 8 games. Jameis Winston threw 5,000 yards and they won 8-8. So you know what? He's the greatest quarterback this game has ever known. Love him or hate him. And believe me, I'm more towards the latter. Okay. He's elite. He leaves New England. New England goes, 7-9? With a former MVP as quarterback. Tom Brady wins the Super Bowl. I think there's no debate who the greatest of all time is. But Pat Mahomes, he will be back. This guy is young. He's 24, 25 years old. The guy's a stud. If he bounces back from this and doesn't completely fade like Jared Goff did when the formula was figured out on him, that you bum rush him, he fades. Mahomes didn't. If he can figure out this, the sky's the limit of what this kid's going to do. He'll be back. He'll win another Super Bowl if he learns that sometimes you need to beat a ball in order to become the greatest bat that ever lived. You'll see Mahomes back plenty of times, trust me. But we're going to go to a break, guys. When we come back, we will discuss some more. We'll move into pro wrestling. Maybe we'll put up this NFL talk and wrap it up in a bow. And we'll discuss some Raw. We'll discuss a couple of deaths in the pro wrestling world. One that was pretty linked to pro wrestling, one not so much. But we'll talk about that much, much more. You're listening to the one and only Pro Wrestling Jam Session here on RGTR Radio.
You're listening to only the best internet radio station in the world. No, the universe.
You're listening to RGTR, Red Go Talk Radio.
The hottest new talents in pro wrestling today are in the Arizona Wrestling Federation. Subscribe today for all the action. YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling AZ. Catch the excitement.
Previously on Broken Link Radio.
Jim, do you have any idea what's going on with Kim Jong-un right now? Everything's cool.
Oh, all good.
He was hiding from coronavirus. As an intelligence officer, if you can't tell if somebody's dead or alive, that's pretty rough. That's a big miss.
That's pretty big. So he's going to get anti-aircraft artillery, but it's based on like a group of like a Jewish guy or like a Jewish group of, I don't know if they're spies or what. It was a tab that I created. And
Broken Link Radio.
You know that I'm greedy for love.
Be sure to check out Arizona Wrestling Federation action on February 13th as the AWF returns to the AWF Arena in Phoenix with dire consequence. Buy tickets now at ArizonaWrestlingFederation.com. Hey everybody, this is JP, the Man of Steel here on RGTR. If you enjoy what you hear on my sports updates, hey, be sure to join me starting on February 18th as I'll be joined by Paul Baker and U.S. Army soldier Jordan Cruz as we discuss all the latest and greatest sports happenings from Major League Baseball, the National Hockey League, the National Football League, and the National Basketball Association right here on RGTR with Kings at a Round Table. You're going to get sports discussion and a roundtable discussion that is truly fit for a king. Again, check out Kings at the Round Table every Thursday night starting on February 18th right here on RGTR, Sports That Matter.
You're listening to RGTR, Red Go Talk Radio.
One of the highlights of the Super Bowl, and no, I'm not talking about highlights on the field, and it wasn't even really a highlight. It's a highlight as I wanted to slam my head into the door and drink warm beer, that type of highlight, was late the third quarter, early fourth, something like that. We decided to have a fan that wanted to make himself famous. Some idiot decides to run on the field and streak. You see that, Joe?
Yeah, and the first thing that came out of my friend's mouth was that guy had better running yardage than the Kansas City Chiefs did all night.
Yeah, right. That was the longest run of the night by somebody not named Patrick Mahomes. You just look at Brady. They cut into flips of Brady and Mahomes just staring at the guy like knucklehead. You know, you dipstick. You know, it's words I can't say on here, but
it legit not surprise me. People do anything if it takes to get them on TV.
No, people do it to get notoriety, and that's the world we live in.
Yeah.
And it's a point in pro wrestling. And I brought this up to you guys in chat the other day because those you, Joe and Matt and a few of others of us, we have our own little discussion that actually spawned on to lead to this program. I'm just going to put this as bluntly as I can, ladies and gentlemen. It is one thing to be a fan of a person. We all have people we have our vices about, okay? We all have, even as males, as red-blooded American males, and no, I'm not talking the tag team in WCW that features Scotty Riggs and Buff Bagwell.
You.
But we all have women that we take a fancy to. I think I gave a little bit of a glimpse of who I was into last week on this show. I think Joe gave a fancy to. I think we've all beaten ad nauseum who Matt Lindsay's into by now.
Yeah, you guys won't let people forget it.
Yeah, he likes Nia Jax.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
there's
my favorite.
There's a difference, though. And we will sit here on conversations and we will talk how attractive I think that Rhea Ripley is, how attractive I find Dakota Kai to be, how I find Anna Jay to be the cat's meow. Okay. And Joe Violet's into who he's into. Matt's into Sasha Banks. That's where the line is drawn. Some of these people take this nonsense absolutely beyond the point of normalcy. And I'm not talking normalcy like, oh, baby, I really like you a lot. You're so gorgeous. Okay. That's not it. I'm talking about crossing a line where these people should be stuck in a padded jail cell, if not institutionalized with sedation medication. There's an individual on Twitter, and I'm not going to dare mention his name because I don't want to give this piece of garbage any publicity whatsoever. I don't want people looking this clown up because he's not worth it. The only people I want looking this twerp up, and that's the nicest thing I can say about him, that's not up to RGTR standards. The only people I want looking him up is the FBI and the Memphis police. And I also want the WWE knowing, and I've tagged them in all this jabroni's posts so they can know, because they need to know so they don't have another Sonya Deville situation on their hands. This guy goes on there and posts stuff that isn't fanboy nonsense. It isn't even Stan nonsense. It's creepy. It's bizarre. It's sick. It's sick, and it's sick in a twisted way. It's sick, and I'm going to break into your house and do something awful to you sort of way. I read this crap. I showed it to you guys earlier this week, and I got a Selena vibe. And you guys remember Selena, right? I mean, Matt, she may have been a little bit before your time, but Joe, you remember Selena, right?
I do.
Okay, the Hispanic singer that had the crazy obsessed fan. It gave me
look where that wound up.
Yeah, exactly. Those of you that don't understand, I'll explain the story in a minute. Matt, it gave me a bad Sonya Deville vibe.
Mm-hmm.
I like to point out there's also a movie about Selena for those of you out there who want to check that out. It's actually a really good movie.
Exactly. And Joe, I'll allow you the dignity, since you're well embraced about Selena, since you understand it, to explain in a nutshell what happened to Selena. Long story short, this woman was a crazy, psycho-obsessed fan. This was before the internet, folks. This was back in the 90s, before social media overtook everybody's lives. But what wound up happening to Selena?
Well, first off, let's preface this by saying that this was a woman, if memory serves me correctly, who was having problems with her promoter, who was also, or her manager, who was also her lover, correct?
Correct.
She was dealing with that enough as it is. But then some crazy psycho stalker fan comes along, and that led to her death.
This woman murdered Selena, basically. I'm not going to say that Alexa Bliss, but I'm going to tell you, folks, by the grace of God, I don't know what would have happened to Mandy Rose or to Sonya Deville had Mandy Rose not been in the house. Okay, we won't ever know, and thank God Almighty for that. You read these posts that this guy is putting up, he needs locked up. This is sick. And he's talking about her fiance. He's talking about, the one post, Joe, 1, 2, Albert's looking at you, 3, 4, and then you'll never sleep again. I had 3 words I can't say on here, but one of them ended with the word that's something that's not rhymes with duck. I'm not one that gets creeped out easy, but I saw this and I'm like, look, this is something that, and I mean, I'm on a 30-day ban on Facebook for calling somebody the B word that ends with the word itch. Okay. You fill out what I'm saying. Why are these people allowed on social media? And why is this man not behind bars?
Yeah, JP, I definitely know what you're talking about. I've seen the posts people, share about this guy, and it's all happened before. It's just really upsetting to me, that some of these people can't live their dream and do what they love because psychos want to take things too far.
Right.
It's gonna come to the point where some of these guys, they just say, screw this. I'm gonna go back doing what I was before. I don't even want to be in the public eye anymore, and that's not fair. And I know it happens to men sometimes too, but most of these are women, and that's not showing respect as they should be. And it's
look at these autograph signings and look at these photo ops where you have these creepy pieces of garbage that are clearly violating these women's personal space. I mean, let me tell you.
Exactly. Pose or whatever it's called.
Yeah, that's like, you got ones that are like, like sneaking up and like grabbing them from behind. And like, I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, Joe, you'll get this reference. And Gabe, our wonderful producer, he'll get this. I dare to see if anybody would have dared try that to Sherry Martel back in the day. Or Jacqueline, even for that matter.
Good God. They'd have gotten whooped or both.
Yeah. They wouldn't have walked out there with their arms intact. But, these fans nowadays, and God forbid these women say anything to them, then they're the word that got be banned from Twitter, from Facebook for 30 days, or a snob.
Exactly.
Or they're terrible.
Or they don't care about the fans. That's bullshit.
That is bull crap. That is bull crap. You're right. It's all right, Joe. It's all right, Matt. You're right. It is bull crap. It's horse manure. These people, they take they feel like they have the rights as a fan. You do have rights as a fan to show up, to boo who you see fit, to cheer who you see fit. This isn't the 1980s anymore. We have to cheer the faces and boo the heels, okay? If you want to cheer the heel and boo the face, knock yourself out. You go to the event, you boo, you cheer, you be entertained, however you see fit. You do not have the right to go in there and throw crap. Okay, you don't have the right to go storm the ring. You don't have the right, when you're at an autograph signing, whether it's free or not, to grope the females. Okay, there's a little thing, folks, called sexual assault. Okay,
exactly. There's a line out there, man, and people need to realize this. There's an invisible line that you should not cross when dealing with the people in the public eye.
That's right. That's right. And you think it's funny, and you may think it's cute, and you may think it's awesome. Hey, you can show all your dork friends on Snapchat or Twitter. Oh, look at this! I was a ding dong to buttocks against Alexa Bliss or Becky Lynch. You know what? Would you think that was funny if it was your sister or your a female friend of yours? No, and you're lucky that their boyfriend take you out back and beat your knees with a baseball bat. Because if that was my wife, you did that too, you'd be thrown in a.
That's another thing, it's not with celebrities, it's with people in general, because this happens to people every day, and it shouldn't, like.
And I'm glad you just said that, Matt.
Basically, human decency, man. I mean, that's what it comes down to: human decency that these people do not have.
I think the part of the problem is a lot of these fans, and I use that term loosely, more like stalkers, but I digress. The problem with them is they tend to forget that these people who they idolize, who they have crushes on, at the end of the day, they're just human beings just like us.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely. That's all they are, is human beings. I mean, like I said, I can sit there, and we talked about him last segment. Am I a Tom Brady fan? Absolutely not. No. I mean, would I go out and buy a Tom Brady jersey? No. Would I say Tom Brady is in my top 5,000 favorite human beings? No. We talked before the show started. There's a player that was on the field tonight that I like even less than Tom Brady. If I saw this individual in a Circle K, or give me a grocery store in St. Louis or Kentucky, give me a store there so people are listening.
Food Lion
or Snooks. Okay, if I saw these guys at a Walmart, a Food Lion, a Snooks, or a Circle K, this individual, okay, Tyreek Hill. I'll just say that I'm not a Tyreek Hill fan. If I saw him in any of those places and he walked up to me and said hello, I would be cordial. I would be respectful. If he tried to shake my hand, I would shake his hand. I wouldn't go up to him. You're a son of a boop. You're a piece of boop. F you. I wouldn't do that stuff. And I'm not a Tyreek Hill.
Exactly. Because you respect the person that's behind the celebrity. That's what it is.
Sure. Because at the end of the day, there is a human being behind that celebrity factor. And maybe it's the fact that I've dealt with celebrities. I don't know, but maybe it's the fact that we're grown up, we're grown ass adults. Excuse my language here. Maybe it's the fact that we're grown adults that understand that, at the end of the day, Hulk Hogan is really Terry Bollea, that Sasha Banks is really Mercedes Vernado, that, these people go home and use the same toilet like we do and take their socks and shoes off and go to sleep at the end of the night. But, you have these people online, like this clown that's trying to stalk Alexa Bliss that thinks she's his wife. Okay. This guy needs medicated. These people need sedated. And, these fans that do this crap at these events, it's sickening to me. And you know what it does? It makes it difficult for all of us guys like you and I. I mean, I'll tell you a true story is when the Royal Rumble was out here. Okay. And I'll never forget this. Royal Rumble's out here and they did the access. Okay. And everybody was going out and people were going back with the Iconics. Okay. And Peyton Royce and Billie Kay, who are absolutely just stunning looking women, gorgeous women in person, gorgeous. They were saying it to all of them. Don't put your hands on the women. Don't put your hands on the women. I got back there. I stuck my hand out to shake their hands and they said, don't put your hands on the women. I remember Peyton Royce looked at him. He said, he's a gentleman. He's fine. And they both grabbed a hold of me and put their arms around me and took a picture with their arms around me. They understand that. You know what I mean? But it's stuff like that. What these clowns do, where they try to grope these women and act like they're, like they're about to go on a date with them, or they're trying to grope them. That where we go to events, people like you and me and Joe and others, we can't even take a picture with them without having to stand 15 feet away with 3-armed security guards because these dorks like these jabronis online that try to get up close and personal and try to score a fast one do this crap. But like I said, I just, like I said earlier, Joe, I'd have loved to see somebody, though. I'd have loved to see somebody try to pull that to Sherry Martel. I'd have been a brick. I'd have been a flying wall to see them even think of doing that to Sherry Martel, because that would have been, they'd have never tried it again. And that's the problem.
That would have been well worth the price of admission right there.
Sure. The thing, and I know things aren't like the good old days, and I don't want to give the good old days story about how things used to be in the business, but things used to be so much different. People used to storm the ring, okay? These people storm the ring. Nowadays, they get walked out, they get banned from the arena, okay? Back in the day, you stormed the ring, you got taken. Not only did you get banned from ever account, right? Yeah, they take you in the back and kick the crap out of you. It would. They take, and don't even think about threatening a lawsuit. I mean, they take you in the back and beat the snot out of you, and you would never come back. Trust me, I was backstage in ECW and I've seen a few of them. I've seen a few dudes get beat down in the back, a few people that tried to be smart asses and storm the ring, and I've seen a few beat downs get beat. Handed. It wasn't pleasant. They didn't hold back.
Or you get beaten right there in the ring in front of everybody else.
Or remember Eddie Guerrero? Remember Eddie Guerrero putting a stomp to that one dude?
Right. Yep. That's what I meant. It will stop you and stop you from getting in there physically.
Sure, I guarantee you.
Sorry, go ahead, JP.
I'm sorry. The people seen that, and they never thought about rushing the ring again. I guarantee you.
Yeah, but as I was saying, I feel like it's a respect issue. When you're a fan of somebody, you respect them. You respect them as a person. If they're a woman, as a woman, and if they're a man, you respect them as a man. And if you do that kind of stuff, then you don't respect them, and you really shouldn't use the label fan.
Exactly. Okay, and I just got informed that Selena story, it was an ex-staffer for Selena. So it was an ex-staffer, and I think he's right. It was Gabe mentioned it was a staff fan club. I think she was a fan club president or some nonsense. But Matt, you're absolutely right. Respect these people as human beings. Respect them as women, especially as women. They're not objects, okay? They're not somebody's toy. Okay, that's somebody's daughter, right? That could be somebody's mother, all right? That's somebody's friend, somebody's sister. Before you go to these events and decide, I'm gonna cop a feel. What if that was your sister? Would you still think it was funny if somebody was trying to, treat them like some kind of tawdry $5 an hour, you catch my drift.
Yeah.
Just my thoughts about this. And you people online, I'm just going to say this because we got about 2 minutes left in the segment. You people that do this nonsense, like especially this guy that's putting this crap up, people like you make me sick. You make me sick to my stomach You're not a wrestling fan. You're not a fan, period. You're a deranged, psychopathic piece of garbage who, as I said earlier, needs to go one of two places, either prison or a mental ward, and get sedated with every kind of medication known to mankind. You don't deserve the privilege of being on social media. You certainly don't deserve the privilege of interacting with these people. And this girl, by the way, Alexis blocked this person multiple times. This person continues to make multiple profiles. Why they don't just block his IP, I don't understand. But these people like this, I'm going to say something I shouldn't say on air. I'm just going to close it by saying this person's sick. He's deranged and he needs thrown in jail or in a mental ward. And I'll leave it at that. But when we come back, we'll get into a more positive topic, I think. We'll talk about Monday Night Raw results and what could be next for Edge, what could be next for Drew McIntyre. That and much more. You're listening to the one and only show that always raises hell, raises ruckus, and causes commotion 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year. It is the show among shows. We are the Pro Wrestling Jam Session here on RGTR, Pro Wrestling News, Talk, and Sports that matters.
You're listening to only the best internet radio station in the world. No, the universe.
You're listening to RGTR, Red Go Talk Radio.
The hottest new talents in pro wrestling today are in the Arizona Wrestling Federation. Subscribe today for all the action. YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling AZ. Catch the excitement.
Previously on Broken Link Radio.
Jim, do you have any idea what's going on with Kim Jong-un right now? Everything's cool.
Oh, all good.
He was hiding from coronavirus. As an intelligence officer, if you can't tell if somebody's dead or alive, that's pretty rough. That's a big miss.
That's pretty big. So he's going to get anti-aircraft artillery, but it's based on like a group of like a Jewish guy or like a Jewish group of, I don't know if they're spies or what. It was a tab that I created. And
Broken Link Radio.
You know that I'm greedy for love.
Be sure to check out Arizona Wrestling Federation action on February 13th as the AWF returns to the AWF Arena in Phoenix with dire consequence. Buy tickets now at ArizonaWrestlingFederation.com. Hey everybody, this is JP, the Man of Steel here on RGTR. If you enjoy what you hear on my sports updates, hey, be sure to join me starting on February 18th as I'll be joined by Paul Baker and U.S. Army soldier Jordan Cruz as we discuss all the latest and greatest sports happenings from Major League Baseball, the National Hockey League, the National Football League, and the National Basketball Association right here on RGTR with Kings at a Roundtable. You're going to get sports discussion and a roundtable discussion that is truly fit for a king. Again, check out Kings at a Roundtable every Thursday night starting on February 18th right here on RGTR, Sports That Matter.
You're listening to RGTR, Red Go Talk Radio.
Welcome back here to the Pro Wrestling Jam Session, RGTR Radio. I am JP Steele. Joining me as always, the mouth of the Deep South, Joey V, Joe Violet. What's going on, Joe?
What's up? Glad to be here.
Good to have you on here. And of course, MJ Gunner, the spirit of St. Louis. Meet you in St. Louis, Matty Lindsay. Matt, you enjoying yourself so far? See, we're getting in slowly but steadily. Well, before you know it, we're going to be on here next Super Bowl, and you're going to be talking more about it than I am.
Yeah, well, I just had to sit through the Super Bowl stuff so I could get on here and share my expertise about pro wrestling.
There you go. Hey, see, you're going to share something, all right. We had a nice talk. But all joking aside, we had a nice talk about last segment about fan etiquette. I'm actually gonna dip into it real quick before we get into the Raw results here, but tie it up into a little bow here. With our next couple of topics, we did see a couple of releases in the WWE, as was discussed, as you've heard on our sound clips, our 60-second news updates, as you will hear daily here on RGTR, brought to you by yours truly. Couple of releases in the WWE. Steve Cutler let go, apparently due to some COVID violations. Cutler was part of the Knights of the Lone Wolf faction on SmackDown, also was part of the Forgotten Sons. Look like the Forgotten Sons have been completely forgotten now. Jackson Riker now taking with Elias on. discuss that in a few minutes. And Cutler gone completely from the company. That means who's the last man standing in that? I mean, what are they going to do with what did they do with the last the forgot? Who was the last of the Forgotten Sons? Buddy. What is it? Not
Wesley Blake.
Wesley Blake.
Blake.
Wesley
What did they
Blake
do
is like,
Blake?
not sure. I hope he stays with King Corbin and they find somebody else to be a knight, because that was working for his character, in my opinion.
It's crazy though. I mean, that guy. I'll tell you what, man. They need to do something with Wesley Blake. They do, and I forgot the poor guy's name. I completely brain farted there, but this guy, I'll tell you what, man. Between what's gone with Cutler getting released and all the just complete gibberish that's gone on with Jackson Riker while they were in the Forgotten Sons, he's not had any favors done to him since getting called up to the main roster. I mean, I'm not going to get into the nonsense that's gone on with Riker, but let's just say Riker did him no favors with some of his previous tweets, and we'll leave it at that. But I hope they do something good with him, because again, he's been guilt by association, and that's not fair. That's not fair at all. But
yeah, if I'm Blake, I'm
go ahead,
Riker, because he does something, I get taken off TV. Like, how fair is that?
Yeah, that's like the entire Forgotten Sons group was taken completely off TV because of certain views of Jackson Riker. I'm like, okay, you take one off TV, not the entire state. That's, I get it. We live in a climate now to where, look, let's keep certain things to ourselves. I understand that completely. Trust me, I do. But why are you penalizing these guys by guilt by association? And now this, I mean, again, I hope they don't take them off TV. Like you said, very good point. Another release this week, Lars Sullivan. Talk about a fire plug of controversy, man. This guy debuts on the WWE main roster after several years in NXT. Had a real good run in NXT. Real good run. Right off the gates, it looked like this guy had big things destined for him. And reportedly, they were going to put him into a huge feud with John Cena right out the gates. Then he has a battle with mental health issues. He apparently has a, if I'm not mistaken, he had a mental health crisis that caused him to go AWOL for a little bit, if I'm not mistaken. And correct me if I'm wrong on this. I don't want to be spreading false information, but there was just some interesting circumstances that caused him to leave for a while. I mean, the pressure, whatever it may be. I mean, look, it's one thing to wrestle in NXT. It's another thing to go to WWE. He goes away for a while. Then also stuff comes out about him, about, bulletin board material, stuff he posted several years before going to the WWE. Then, he comes back, he gets hurt, he blows his knee out, comes back, has a couple of matches, does a couple of segments, is pulled off TV again. Now he's gone. I mean, this is just the best way I could lump up Lars Sullivan's career is really no disrespect intended, but bizarre. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but it seemed like the guy was destined for big things right out the gate, and then it wasn't in the cards. I mean, I don't even know the way to lump this up, really, Matt. Joe?
Yeah, Lars Sullivan, I could understand the mental issues, and I could understand if he gets injured, but every time he comes back, we find out something else about him. He's done this or he did that, and then they yank him off TV again. This was not working. Every time he came back, it was always something.
Well, let me just say this right off the bat here, okay? First things first. The crap he posted as a 18, 19-year-old kid, I don't condone it at all. What he said was foobar, okay? You don't post that crap. But let this be a lesson. If you're 15, 16, 17 years old in a social media driven world, let Lars Sullivan be a prime example. The crap you post now can and will be used against you in the court of public opinion. Trust me, you hit the big time, you will have your haters, you will have your detractors. And believe me, the minute you hit the big time, somebody doesn't like you, and there will be somebody who doesn't. They will dig this crap up and use it to hang you. Trust me on that. Again, Lars Sullivan posted this crap when he was 18 years old. Do I like it? No, I think what he wrote was screwed up. I think what he wrote was horseshit. Okay, excuse my language. But, again, I'm not condoning it. I think it's terrible. But again, let this be a lesson. don't post anything online you shouldn't have these opinions anyway. I think you follow what I'm saying here, right? You gentlemen follow what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Let this be an example. I don't think that. Yeah, keep your if you've got stupid, narrow-minded, bullshit opinions, keep them to yourself. Okay, keep them to yourself. Nobody needs to hear them. Okay, but you really, even if you've got controversial opinions of any kind, and yes, political opinions, whether they be left-leaning or right-leaning nowadays, are considered controversial. Okay, keep them to yourself because they will be used against you. Trust me. As for the other stuff, look, the adult entertainment tape. I'm going to say this right now. That was unfair. I'm sorry. That was unfair.
You know, I'm glad you said that because thinking about this whole thing, this tells me I have a theory that somebody must have had it out for him from the word go. Because somebody had to do some digging to find those two black marks on his record. Now, that being said, with that knowledge, he didn't do himself any favors when he started tweeting this, what was it, a fitness instructor asking for lewd pics of her?
No, I mean, you're right. And look, Lars has a lot of growing up to do. Dylan Miley, we'll just say it right now because Dylan Miley has a lot of growing up to do. WWE made the absolute right decision to cut ties with this experiment. They did. He clearly wasn't ready for this spotlight. So. He clearly was not ready for this opportunity. Okay. The road is a tough place when you're in the WWE. You could be a physical marvel if you're not mentally or emotionally ready for it. It can come back to haunt you, and you can't do stupid stuff like you can't do stupid stuff like hit up, people. You can't hit up fitness models for nude pics when you're in that kind of platform, in any kind of platform. Because I mean, look, we're seeing it in Major League Baseball. There was a general manager for the New York Mets that, for years he had been a top scout for the Cubs, the Diamondbacks, etc. This guy, was a rising star in sports, was destined to be a general manager. He finally gets his job with the Mets. He lasted 6 weeks, I believe it was. Word came out that the guy was, harassing a reporter for pictures, where he was sending in pictures of his junk, and he was fired. He'll never get a job in baseball again. Moral of the story is, you can't act like that when you're in a profile position. You can't. And, This guy just clearly wasn't. I mean, you clearly wasn't mentally ready for this. Now, he didn't do himself any favors with anything. The previous post, the pic, the harassing, the woman on Instagram. So I'm not defending Lars by any means. And if he had these stupid views, I mean, it's tough to share a locker room. It is tough. Look at the crap Hulk Hogan's going. Look at the backlash Hulk Hogan's getting. That man can never go into another locker room and share a locker room with African Americans ever again. And he shouldn't. I mean, I would, if I shared a locker room with Hulk Hogan, I couldn't look at him the same. And I'm not an African American male. But I can't look at Hulk Hogan the same again. I was at a Comic-Con with him here in Glendale back in 2017 after all this crap broke. I had a chance to meet Hulk Hogan. I had no desire to. None. Because of that. And believe me, before that, I would have killed to meet Hulk Hogan. I had no interest in meeting because of that. Because that's not in my repertoire. Go ahead. I know you wanted to say something. Somebody was chiming in there. Go ahead. I know I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was me. It's like they say, what you do outside your profession does come back on you to what you do inside your profession. It doesn't really matter how good you are at it. If it's enough, it will take its toll, especially in today's nowadays where everything you do is underneath a microscope. It's pretty hard to hide things.
You're absolutely right. You cannot hide anything. You can't hide crap on social media. You can't, because once it goes up, it's there forever. Believe me, you put something up 15 years ago, it's there forever. You put something up 5 years ago, it's there forever. They will use it against you. Believe me. You've got to watch it. If you want to be in the profile, you better watch what you put on there. You better hire a PR firm. And believe me, I used to have this talk with MMA guys all the time. I mean, I used to go on there, and there are, I'm not throwing any names under the bus, but there were several prominent UFC fighters that I'd go back and I would just do a simple Facebook search of the word, and they'd have their Facebook their Facebook post would be riddled with a word that you don't say in modern times. It's not that. It's not the. It's a word you don't say about the LGBT community, and I'll just leave it at that. And I would report them. I said, here's this post. Get this crap off of here right now. Because, and it was when they were kids. These are 24, 25-year-old that were writing it when they were 13, 14 years old. I said, you need to get this crap off your page before, somebody gets wind of it. Because, and again, not condoning it. That's stupid. But when you're 13, 14 years old, you say stupid shit. You know what I mean? And just get this off of there. And he's like, oh, my God, I forgot I even said that. It's not my, no, I know. I understand. Just erase this crap, it's you just got to watch it nowadays, or you can't put these things up. But to Joe's point, though, somebody did have it out for him, and to me, this video, I just want to throw this out there to you guys, and Matt, Joe. What's the difference between this and the crap that they did to Paige?
There isn't.
Can somebody tell me that? Besides the fact that Paige is liked and Lars Sullivan's not.
However, let's also remember that during that whole thing, she also got a lot of heat for her relationship with Alberto Del Rio.
Well, that's nobody's business.
Yeah.
It's not, but my point is, she did have heat on her, but it was you could say that maybe that was supplemented instead of the heat that she could have gotten for her videos, shall we say?
You're right, but when that happened to Paige, and that happened to, and it wasn't the only one that I mean, there was a lot of women that this crap happened to. I mean, it happened to Paige. I believe it happened to Caitlyn. I mean, there was a number of women that had their privacy violated. And I hope the people that violated their privacy. Go ahead, Matt. What did you say? Who was it?
The people like the victim shame, as they say.
Right.
When
right.
They take personal stuff and then they hack their things and then they post it online, and then it's their fault for taking it. That's called victim shaming. They're not the one that did wrong here. The person who hacked them and posted it.
Exactly. And there was a lot of women this happened to. I mean, I remember there were videos of Victoria. There was or Lisa Marie Varon. There's videos of, I believe, Angelina Love. I mean, there were videos of a lot of women out there doing things. And look, technological age, we're guys. We all want this stuff, right? We all want a video of, whatever. But the bottom line is, though, I remember there was a lot of victim shaming. But I also remember there was overwhelming support for these women, as there should have been. There absolutely should have been.
Yeah.
And I hope the people that release these videos, if they haven't been caught already and persecuted to the fullest extent of the law, I hope they do get it. As a matter of fact, I hope they get persecuted. And I hope the people that did it get their ass kicked in jail. But again, I'm going to pose the question. When this happened to Paige, and it happened to Victoria, and it happened to Caitlyn, and it happened to, Angelina Love and the other ones, there was a lot of sympathy. And these people that did it were horrendous human beings, justifiably so. When it happened to Lars Sullivan, there wasn't the outcry.
I'm going to say something there because I've heard it, but I'm not exactly sure if it's true. Some of those tweets and Facebook stuff that he said back in the day, did any of that have any kind of a homophobic vibe to it at all?
I mean, it did, but I'm going to tell you a little secret here, Matt. A lot of these homophobic people are stifling some serious. That's not uncommon, bro. That is not uncommon.
No, I mean, what I'm saying is he's got homophobic stuff on his past.
That they give him crap for being a hypocrite.
I've heard people talk about. Wasn't that him with another guy?
Yeah, no, it was him with another guy. Yeah, absolutely. And that's, you give him crap for that. I understand. Look, you're going to call him a hypocrite. You're going to give him.
That's what it is. That's the hypocritical side. That's my issue with it.
And that absolutely. By all means, if you want to blast Lars Sullivan for being the biggest hypocrite known to mankind, you're going to drop the F-bomb on there and F-bomb and, be a homophobe and put homophobic crap up in the past and then get caught, get caught, in a video with another guy, yeah, you deserve all the grief you get in that avenue. But I'm talking go ahead.
I think that answers the question right there. The fact that some people did see that, him being a hypocrite, and even the tweet itself, even if they didn't put together that he was a hypocrite, I think that that camouflaged the sympathy. There was so much outrage for him. They're like, no, we're not going to feel bad for this guy. Screw him.
Okay, but let's play devil's advocate here, just for the sake of devil's advocate. Okay, and y'all know my views on Lars. We've had this discussion at length. I think he's a juvenile. I think he's a punk. I hate bigotry. I hate race. I hate bigots and racists. I'm intolerant of that shit.
Right.
I tell my son all the time. Well, my sister, when his 18-year-old sister, fools with him and he fools back. Two wrongs don't make a right.
Yeah, I get that.
And if we're going to take the moral high ground and we're going to be better than that, you know what I'm saying? He's a hypocrite. He's a piece of crap. Okay, you're right. He's going to go on there and drop F-bombs and talk all this mad crap. You're a hypocrite. You're a hypocrite, Lars. Well, what's all this? You're a homophobe, but you're going to go on there and get caught with making a video. But that I don't have a problem with. But when you got people on there, fire him. He's a bitch. He's calling him the same thing he was saying online. You know what I'm saying? That's the crap I'm talking about. The stuff that people were saying to Lars wasn't, you're a hypocrite. You have no room to talk. Look, this guy, you're even more pathetic now because you said that stuff. That's above the belt. The stuff that they were saying to him is below the belt. These people that were defending Paige and defending, the other women that had leaked were the same ones piling on Lars, and not because he was a hypocrite. And that's what I have a problem with.
Yeah, I get that, JP. It should go both ways. If he was leaked, somebody stole it and everything, that's victim shaming too. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
It
goes both ways.
It's just like, and I'm gonna tie this into another avenue. We've got, Lars has a lot of mental health issues, and he was very open about it. And again, Lars cooked his own goose. Let me just emphasize that. Lars Sullivan, folks, cooked his own goose. I can say that. I'll spell it in broad letters so nobody listening to this says, but Jay, you're sticking up for Lars. Lars Sullivan cooked his own goose. I've said it three times. Would you like me to say it one more, gentlemen? Or have I made my point clear?
Crystal. I think you made your point.
Okay. Saul Guerrero announced today. Let's take this into the next segment because we got a minute left. I'm going to bring up my point about Saul Guerrero next segment. But when we come back, folks, I'm going to continue to talk about the adverse hypocrisy of pro wrestling fans online. But we do have a minute left. I want to get into that. And I'm going to lead off by solidifying my point one more time. You're listening to the radio show that continues to deliver the goods 24/7, 365. Unlike UPS or unlike USPS, you actually get your stuff on time and not damaged. You just get damaged toast like me. You're listening to Pro Wrestling Jam Session here on RGTR, Pro Wrestling Talk That Matters.
You're listening to only the best internet radio station in the world. No, the universe.
You're listening to RGTR, Red Go Talk Radio.
The hottest new talents in pro wrestling today are in the Arizona Wrestling Federation. Subscribe today for all the action. YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling AZ. Catch the excitement.
Previously on Broken Link Radio.
Jim, do you have any idea what's going on with Kim Jong-un right now? Everything's cool.
Oh, all good.
He was hiding from coronavirus. As an intelligence officer, if you can't tell if somebody's dead or alive, that's pretty rough. That's a big miss.
That's pretty big. So he's going to get anti-aircraft artillery, but it's based on like a group of a Jewish guy or like a Jewish group of, I don't know if they're spies or what. It was a tab that I created. And
Broken Link Radio.
You know that I'm greedy for love. Be
sure to check out Arizona Wrestling Federation action on February 13th as the AWF returns to the AWF Arena in Phoenix with dire consequence. Buy tickets now at ArizonaWrestlingFederation.com. Hey everybody, this is JP, the Man of Steel here on RGTR. If you enjoy what you hear on my sports updates, hey, be sure to join me starting on February 18th as I'll be joined by Paul Baker and U.S. Army soldier Jordan Cruz as we discuss all the latest and greatest sports happenings from Major League Baseball, the National Hockey League, the National Football League, and the National Basketball Association right here on RGTR with Kings at a Roundtable. You're going to get sports discussion and a roundtable discussion that is truly fit for a king. Again, check out Kings at the Roundtable every Thursday night starting on February 18th right here on RGTR, Sports That Matter.
You're listening to RGTR, Red Go Talk Radio.
I am the voices in Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene's head. It is JP Steele, and you're listening to the craziest show that you'll ever hear outside of a QAnon meeting. It's the one and only. I forgot the name of the whole gosh damn show now. What is the name of the show, Joe? You fill me in. I had my text line all ready to go, and I lost my follow-up.
I think it's Pro Wrestling Jam.
Pro Wrestling Jam session.
Pro Wrestling Jam.
It's a jam session. Pro Wrestling Jam session. Again, I'm the voices that Marjorie Taylor Greene hears in her head, and I don't even shoot solar panels from outer space across wildfires in California. It's JP Steele. It's Joe Violet. It's Matt Lindsay. What's going on?
Yeah. Yes, sir. We're ready.
She's nuts. Did I ever tell you that? She's nuts. Marjorie Taylor. They're both insane. They're both insane.
Never heard of her. She's identifying the issue, and she's going to do something about it because mental health issues are not anything to take lightly.
They're absolutely not. And I mean, I'm gonna roll straight with you here. I deal with mental health issues on a daily basis, and some days are better than others. And the first step to battling mental health issues is to realizing you have them. And I applaud Shaw for taking that step. And if it means stepping away from this business for good, I commend you because it is a hard battle. It is a very hard battle. Yeah. And I mean, it's
sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead, brother.
As I said 2 segments ago, they're people just like the rest of us.
Well, sure. They absolutely are. They're human beings that bleed the same blood. They have the same emotions as we do. They have the same thoughts as we do. And I mean, people applaud, and anybody that's not applauding her, and there are a lot that are doing it, it's the same scumbags that rode Kaylee Ray for walking away from the sport, and the same scumbags that were coming up with these ridiculous conspiracy theories why she walked away from AEW. Okay. You people are the ones with the problems. You people are the ones that need to remove your heads from your rectal cavities and grow the frick up, because you know what? There is more to life than professional wrestling, and there's much more to life than your personal entertainment. Okay. People like Shaw Guerrero and Kaylee Ray, who realize that they have problems that they need to. It's not even problems. You know what? I say problems. It's a bad thing. This isn't a problem. Okay. This is something it's called self-reflection. Okay. And some of you actually are the ones that need to self-reflect on your own personal inadequacies, that you're that shallow with yourselves individually, that you have to, feel so bad about yourself that you have to go online and mock somebody else's, personal pain that they live with on a daily basis. You're the ones that need to grow up, not them. They're not here to be your circus pony or your freaking, toy Nintendo 64 or dildo or Xbox One or whatever thing you play with at the moment. Okay. They're human beings. They're not, there is more to life. Like I said, thank you very much for your validation on that, Matt, earlier. I heard you and I appreciate you, my brother, that they are not here for your entertainment. There is more to life than them keeping you entertained. Okay. These are people too. And I would much rather see a story like Shaw Guerrero or Kaylee Ray stepping away from this business for an extended period of time, even if it's forever, and getting their life in order and living a happy, healthy life than hearing a story about Mike Awesome or Chris Canyon, where they ended their lives far too soon because they didn't get it in order and they decided to stick around to appease a bunch of bloodthirsty bastards that are never happy about anything, that sit online and whine and jerk off and carry on and act like imbeciles every time that, oh, he didn't entertain me enough. He had a crappy match. Y'all can kiss my ass. All of you. All you did harassing Shaw Guerrero and Kaylee Ray can eat my rear end.
It's if you're a fan of somebody, an athlete or a musician or a pro wrestler, well, hell, pro wrestlers are athletes, but you get my drift. If you're a fan of these people, then them as people, that should count more than them as, wrestlers. Even if they're not entertaining you at the moment, if them getting right and them feeling good about themselves, etc., that should be more important than you getting entertained.
That's right.
Like you care about
That's
the
right.
person. They're not just entertainment robots. I say it all the time.
Let me tell you a little. Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead, buddy.
I was going to say, you said it earlier. If you're really a fan of these people, you'll have respect for them.
Right.
Let me give you an example, though. These people, they claim to be fans. Okay. 2018, 2019? We all were rocked by the tragic suicide of Ashley Mazzaro, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
These same hypocritical scumbags, okay, that were on there boo-hooing on her Twitter page and boo-hooing on her Facebook page. You were my favorite wrestler. I'm so heartbroken. oh, WWE, you're so terrible for not. Why they should have. God damn the WWE for that. What happened to her in 2008? These are the same people that thought it was the funniest thing in God's green earth when Rebby Sky was ripping her a new one on Twitter 6 months earlier. These are the same people that anytime she had a matchup that she would put, matches of hers up on Twitter, would talk about how she sucked. She was a terrible wrestler. She was all that was wrong with wrestling back in the early 2000s, that she was tits and ass and eye candy. Okay. It's all fun and games to sit there and harass these women online and talk crap and then bawl like babies when they do this crap.
What was the name of that one Japanese female wrestler who killed herself?
Hana Kimura.
Thank you.
There's another prime example. There's another great example. We were rocked to the core when Hana Kimura killed herself. The same people that were calling her a bitch and all this other nonsense were the same ones crying. You know what? Here's an idea. How about you be a decent human being and don't say this crap behind the guise of social media where you hide behind a picture of an egg and you call yourself Peter 17416 and you have a picture of a WWE logo as your banner. And, you sit there and talk all this garbage to these women, but then you want to cry when they do, or these men, and then you want to cry when they kill themselves. Let's treat mental illness very real, folks, because these people have it. And this is a hard profession where you're judged for every move you make, every misstep you take, and especially in a world on social media where these people are accessible at a fingertip, at a snap of a finger. And believe me, everybody's a critic who acts like they can do it. When half these people can't even lace the wrestler's boots. Half these people couldn't get in there and do a 1 minute match. One minute match.
I think another issue is everybody loves to talk about how mental health should be taken seriously and how, we need to take care of ourselves. And then they want to give people crap whenever they actually do, these things to take care of themselves. Like the ones that were giving Shal Guerrero crap about not wrestling anymore. It's like, we want to say we respect mental health or whatever, but don't do anything about it if you're not feeling so well, because then you'll be away from us or something like that.
We want to give them all the help they can get with mental health, but don't you dare stop entertaining us. Because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing is you give us what we want. We don't give a rat's rear end if you get help, but we're going to sit there and look at how cool we are online. We really care about your well-being, but don't you dare walk away.
Give me a break.
But, we'll sit there and we'll be the first to I'm so heartbroken that they died. Eat me.
I couldn't have put it any better myself.
Yep.
And here's another one. Okay. And again, I've said this 50 times last segment. This will be the last time I said it. Lars cooked, fill in the blanks, gentlemen.
His goose.
His own turkey.
His own turkey.
His own goose.
Lars screwed Lars. Lars is battling mental health too, folks. You can't cherry pick.
Right.
You can't cherry pick and feel sorry for one and not the other.
Yeah, I get that. Especially men's mental health, because as men we're expected to keep things bottled up and not talk about our feelings and etc. And that needs to change too, because all that carrying around all these emotions or whatever, it's not good for us. And then people act like we're soft, or they don't care when we actually open up and say we have problems.
That's right.
Like, it's bull.
Ask the family of Chris Kenyon if they wish he would have opened up more. Ask the family of Mike Awesome if they wish he would have opened up more. I promise you, they all would have said yes. And if you're a guy that's listening to this, if you're a male that battles mental health and you're afraid to open up, it doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you a coward. It doesn't make you soft or any of the other tripe that these wimps on social media, these punks that have testicles the size of peas on social media will say. If you open up, that makes you more of a man. Get it out of your system. Don't harbor this crap in. It does not pay to harbor it in, because the more you harbor it in, the more it hurts you in the end. The more you bottle it up, the more it eats you. The more it eats you, the more it's going to destroy you. And at the end of the day, I'm going to take the words of my good friend Chaz Taylor once said, I'd rather be there to listen to you cry than cry at your funeral.
Amen to that.
Yep.
Boys, we went from laughing to somber.
Things just got really real in here for a minute. And it should when we're talking about these issues.
Where's my Cardinals hat at, Matt? Damn it. I want my St. Louis Cardinals hat.
You're gonna have to give me a minute here.
I need to make us laugh here a little bit. Hey, speaking of things that aren't too somber, man, we best wishes go out to pro wrestling legend Terry Funk, who's going through some physical battles here. Word was put up by Dustin Rowe today that the Funkers going through some physical aches and pains, and could use our prayers and thoughts. And certainly, you will not find a tougher human being that walked God's green earth. Never mind the professional wrestling business and the Funker. That guy, my God, is he? When you talk the epitome of
most definitely.
I mean, you talk middle-aged and crazy. That guy was doing things at 53, 54 years old that you don't see people do at 25. I mean, he was one of a kind when it came to this business. That guy was just, and believe me, if Funk could lace up the boots at 75, he'd still be out there doing the same stuff he did at 55.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've said anything yet about what's wrong with him, but it's really irrelevant at this point. If the guy's hurting, guy's suffering, once again, he's a human being.
Well, I mean, let's look at the grand scope of things. Number one, he's 75 years old. Okay, your body at 75 isn't the same as it was at 25, at 55, let alone 25. Number two, this is a guy that put a copious amount of abuse on himself throughout his life. I mean, this is a guy that's been in the business for longer than anybody in this conversation's been alive.
So yeah, he's probably got more mileage on his body than it should.
Oh, for sure. I mean, look, let me put Terry Funk into perspective here. This guy is a car that probably has close to 900,000 miles on it. Okay, with all the beatings he's taken. I mean, this guy's driven around the world 10 times removed. Okay, this guy's got probably more replaced limbs than anybody you will ever meet. On top of it, the man lost his wife not that long ago. I mean, he's been through the ringer. I mean, he's lost his wife. He lost his wife, Vicky, believe it was 2019. So, I mean, you know, he's hanging on, but he's hanging on. I mean, he's a tough old man from Texas. It's, you know, he's not going to go down without a fight, but he is certainly, he's given more back to this world than, you know, he's taken from it. And, you know, I certainly hope and pray for the best for the man.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to talk about something fun. To harass Matt about Cardinal hat and strippers named Sasha that look like Charlotte Flair. You know, this is too dark.
Hey, one thing that I found pretty funny. I was watching AEW before we got on here, and they were doing the wedding segment. I remember Miro says, "What is love?" And then the crowd starts singing, "Baby, don't hurt me." Don't hurt me. I found that to be funny.
Hey, Gabe, do I have permission? We got 2 minutes left. All right, we got 2 minutes left. Do I have permission to make a comment about Penelope Ford and hurting me? Okay, I have permission to make. Gabe said yes. I have permission. All right. I don't know about hurting me, but Penelope Ford, yes, ma'am. Yeah, yes, please. Yeah, yes, please. And Penelope, if you're listening to this, I'm just saying I mean that in the most loving possible way. I'm not one of these creepy old fools that we're talking about in segment 2. Those people make me sick. Penelope Ford is on the Big J Boski short list of women that he absolutely finds to be quite spellbinding. Absolutely. Yeah, we should do that next list. Sure, yeah. Go ahead, Matt. Give me the business. I've been giving you the business for 2 weeks now.
Longer than my arms. Both arms, really.
Matt, you got crocodile arms. What are you talking about?
Yeah, whatever.
I'll be the first to admit I have standards or very low ones, but my list is longer than the St. Louis City Mile. So, you know, I mean, I can't help it, man. I mean, I can't help it. I got women that I find very attractive in this business. Natalia Markova and, you know, Brandy Lauren and, Shotzi Blackheart and, you know, the Bella Twins. And, you know, how many segments do we have, Gabe? Like, how many more segments do we have? Like 5? All right, we have 1 minute, so I don't have enough time to list my list. I think I need another like 10 segments. All right, we got to go to break, guys.
List on us, JP.
Okay, let me ask you this question. What will end first?
Hold this on us.
What will end first? What'll end first? Me getting my list done, or you getting me my Cardinals hat?
Probably the list.
I might be talking a while. Hey, when we come back, we'll discuss some more. I don't know what we'll talk about next segment. I might give Matt a lesson on who the women in Congress are. Anybody want to hear that? Probably not.
Yeah, because we'll talk about something. Use it, you know?
Hey, we'll discuss something funny and unique. It probably won't be as dark as this one was, I promise you. But you're listening to Pro Wrestling Jam Session here on the show that makes the QAnon crazies lose our mind even more than it's already been gone. Here on the one and only RGTR, Talk That Matters.
You're listening to only the best internet radio station in the world. No, the universe.
You're listening to RGTR, Red Go Talk Radio.
The hottest new talents in pro wrestling today are in the Arizona Wrestling Federation. Subscribe today for all the action. YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling AZ. Catch the excitement.
Previously on Broken Link Radio.
Jim, do you have any idea what's going on with Kim Jong-un right now? Everything's cool.
Oh, all good.
He was hiding from coronavirus. As an intelligence officer, if you can't tell if somebody's dead or alive, that's pretty rough. That's a big miss.
That's pretty big. So he's going to get anti-aircraft artillery, but it's based on like a group of like a Jewish guy or like a Jewish group of, I don't know if they're spies or what. It was a tab that I created. And
Broken Link Radio.
You know that I'm greedy for love.
Be sure to check out Arizona Wrestling Federation action on February 13th as the AWF returns to the AWF Arena in Phoenix with dire consequence. Buy tickets now at ArizonaWrestlingFederation.com. Hey everybody, this is JP, the Man of Steel here on RGTR. If you enjoy what you hear on my sports updates, hey, be sure to join me starting on February 18th as I'll be joined by Paul Baker and U.S. Army soldier Jordan Cruz as we discuss all the latest and greatest sports happenings from Major League Baseball, the National Hockey League, the National Football League, and the National Basketball Association right here on RGTR with Kings at a Roundtable. You're going to get sports discussion and a roundtable discussion that is truly fit for a king. Again, check out Kings at the Roundtable every Thursday night starting on February 18th, right here on RGTR, Sports That Matter.
You're listening to RGTR, Red Go Talk Radio.
All right, fellas, we got some ladies and gentlemen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, real new generation X. That's copyright violation. We don't want no violations hitting us. Hey, it's the Madhouse. It's the Madhouse on the Mississippi, east, west, north, and south of the Mississippi. It is Sunday night, Monday morning, sometime. I forgot what day of the week it is. I'm going QA on here. It's the Pro Wrestling Jam session here on RGTR. I'm JP along with Matt and Joe, and we're going to do something a little different here. And this was totally spur of the moment, based off of Matt, which I do want to give full credit to. Matt thought that Ivanka Trump was Donald Trump's wife. Not totally
I did think
wrong.
that.
Even later on after the segment in post-production, he mentioned while we were on commercial break, he mentioned he thought got Ivanka confused with Ivana. Now, Ivana actually was Donald Trump's first. Go ahead.
I said, who was also a real person that was married to Donald Trump. Just want to point that out there.
That's correct.
Go ahead.
That is correct. He actually thought he was confusing Ivanka with Ivana. Now, that is not incorrect. Ivana Trump was Donald Trump's first wife. That is very true. So, Matt, you do get a point. Immediately in our next game, you'll get 1 point ahead because you did get Ivana Trump right. That is Donald Trump's first wife. And if Donald Trump had his wife, Ivanka Trump would be his wife too, but that's a different time for a different show. So this segment we're going to do, it's going to be called Sports Star or Not a Sports Star. So my good friend Joey V, the notorious Joey V, and I are going to fire off a bunch of names, and we're going to find out whether Mr. Lindsay can determine whether they are sports superstars or they are not sports superstars. We'll see what he scores on this, whether he's going to be the Tom Brady of this segment, left tonight, or he's going to be the Patrick Mahomes of this segment. All right. So, Joe, do you want to lead us off or do you want me to lead it off? Wake up. All right. I'll lead it off. He fell asleep. All right. I'll lead it off. Joe, if you get this one wrong, Matt, I'm disconnecting the call. I'm kicking you off the show. Patrick Mahomes, sports star or not? I'm giving you the biggest softball here. If you get this wrong, I'm going to be pissed off.
He is a sports star. Yes.
All right, there you go. You have been paying attention more. 1 point for Matt. All
Ding.
Right, 1 point for Matt. Ding. Joe, what the hell up? Ask him one.
You asking me one or am I asking him one?
You're asking him one. Me and you were torturing him this segment. You're up next.
All right, Larry Fole.
Larry Fole. Is a sports star.
Correct.
Ding.
Yay!
See, Matt got that one right. I wouldn't even have got that one right. You're pulling a wool over our eyes. You know more about sports than you think, than you're leading on.
I swear to God, I was just a shot in the dark. I've never heard of that man.
Here's my number. Here's my second one here. You're 2-0 here, Matt. So far, you're Tom Brady and us. All right, number 2, Bob Tebow.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say not a sports star.
You are correct. There is a Tebow that was a sports star, but his name's Tim Tebow, not Bob. So you're batting 300. You're batting 1,000, man. 3-0.
Wow. I'm doing better than I thought I would.
He's making an ass out of us, Joe. He's killing us here. He's killing us. All right.
Normally that doesn't take much, but
y'all thought they were gonna come in here and steamroll me. Nuh-uh, not today. Y'all ain't gonna make me look like a fool. Go ahead.
I make an ass out of myself when I look in the mirror. Go ahead, next.
All right. Gordie Howe.
Oh, I'm gonna hang up if you
Sounds like a sports star, so I'm gonna go sports star.
Damn you.
You're full of shit. You know what you're talking about. 4-0. You're a liar. You're a lying sack of beans. 4-0.
You asked me what sports these people play. I would not know what to tell you.
You know where
you're a bigger liar than Trump's legal team. God.
That's why liars go to Washington, D.C. and make a ton of money.
All right, here we
go.
go.
Ahead. I'm doing all right.
You're doing great. You're doing great, Kayla. You're doing great, Kaylee. You're doing phenomenal here. Paul Goldschmidt.
I think I might have heard of him before, and he's got the sports star-y name, so I'm going to go sports star.
I'm going to punch him. 5-0. I'm going to...
Oh, my God! I did not believe it. Like, you guys must be lobbing.
He's Google searching. He's either bullshitting us or he's Google searching us.
I'm doing neither. I'm telling you. If you ask me what sports these people play, I would not know what to tell you.
Okay,
I'm doing neither.
Okay, Kaylee. Okay, sure thing, Kaylee.
All right. I got one. Kane Hodder.
Who?
Kane Hodder.
If you get this one right, I'm hanging up the phone.
It's obvious, so I'm going to go not a sports star.
Son of a...
He's 6-0.
I cannot believe it. I can't believe it. I really cannot believe it.
All right, here we go.
6-0.
All right, here we go. All right. Neil Young.
Neil Young. I can swear
Neil Young.
I've heard Neil Young before, so I'm going to go sports star.
Holy mother of God, we got him. He's wrong. He's a rock star from the 1970s.
I can't believe it. All right, 6-1. 6-1.
Joey threw. Well, Tom Brady threw his first incomplete pass of the night. Go ahead, Joe.
All right, let me think here for a minute. Stan Winston.
Sports star.
Nope.
He said that with such enthusiasm. He said that with such enthusiasm too. Oh my! Well, we'll get you some momentum back here, buddy. Here we go. Next one, you're gonna get your streak coming back here. Ready? Here we go. Sam Malone.
I think sports star.
On TV, yes, but he was a fake sports star on the TV show Cheers, played by Ted Danson, so not a sports star. Oh, Matty boy. Oh, Matty boy.
I'm falling apart at the seams. I was doing so well.
Ah, my faith is restored in humanity. All right.
Hey.
I'm ready. Come on, keep coming.
All right. George Goulas.
I could swear I've heard of this person before.
George Goulas. That sounds like some kind of meal that makes that.
He was a wrestling promoter, so technically he was not a sports star.
Oh, George Goulas. That sounds like something you eat that sounds like some kind of Hungarian meal that you eat that makes you go to the bathroom a lot.
If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Okay, Eddie Guerrero. All right, here we go. Come on. Now, listen, Matt, I'm going to throw you a softball here, and if you get this wrong, you cannot get this wrong. You can't get this wrong. Kevin Durant.
Sports talk, most definitely.
There you go. Yay. I gave you an easy one. I tried to rebuild your confidence a little bit there.
All right, bonus one. I got a bonus one for him.
All right.
Mercedes Varnado.
Oh, Jesus. Matt, what the hell? Bro, what the hell?
Jackass.
Come on, Matt. Come on, Matt. Come on, Joe. Come on, Joe. Come on.
Seriously.
Come on, Joe. Come on now.
Start off.
There's layups and there's hitting off the damn tee, and you're letting him hit off the tee.
Yes.
Come on,
No,
Joe.
she's a sports entertainment star. That's wrong.
Come on, Joe. You're letting him hit off the tee.
That counts.
He's also an actor, so also technically wrong.
Was that your last? Was that seriously? Was that seriously your last question?
No, I thought we were past 10. Actually,
was that seriously the one you threw at him, Mercedes Varnado? I mean, come on.
You said it. It's not my fault.
No, I thought we were actually at 10. I apologize.
No, we each have 10. Remember?
Oh, we each have 10. Okay, my bad.
It's not my fault.
I'm sorry.
8 and 4.
All right.
This is quickly circling down the drain.
Next question.
William Nylander.
Sports talk.
Oh, I hate you. Oh, yeah. He's a left winger for the Maple Leafs in the NHL. All right.
Yep.
Okay, 13.
All right. Steve Yzerman.
Could swear I've heard of him before. Sports talk.
You're a liar. You're a liar.
Kiss my grits.
You're a liar. Okay.
Is that right?
Yes.
Are we angry or are we satisfied with your answer? All right.
It's not my fault, guys. Come on.
Tim
and if
Riggins.
I'm not mistaken, us sports we have 2 more left.
Tim Riggins. 2 more each, fool. 2 more each. You're not out of the woodwork yet. Tim Riggins.
All right. Tim Riggins. Not a sports star.
Oh gosh. Oh, yep. Yep. Not a sports star. That's right. Hey.
All right. I got one. Gary Gygax.
Gary Gygax. Sports star.
Nope.
Yeah, but
19 and 5.
Making me have to dig into my nerddom here. Jackass.
You're keeping score here. You're keeping score yourself here, Matt. 19 and 5.
Yeah, I'm keeping score. If I was losing, I would not be keeping score, but I am. But I'm not losing, so let me go and keep score.
19 and 5. All right, so here we go. You got 1, 2. We got 2. 1 more left from each of us. All right, Sam Ellinger. Sam Ellinger.
Sports talk. I swear I've heard of Ellinger before. Sports talk.
Yeah, because I put his name all over my Facebook page. That's a good job, Jay. You give him an easy one by putting it all over your Facebook page. Yeah, good job.
God.
All right, 1 more.
Yeah. Go ahead, Joe. Give us this. I give you crap for giving him Mercedes. You can give me crap for giving him this hand me down.
Mike Ilitch.
Sports talk.
Sports general manager.
Oh, all right. All right.
20 and 6. Not bad, if I do say so myself.
Matt, total is 20 and 6. Do you know your sports stars 20 and 6? And guess what? You're full of crap. You don't know anything about sports. Hey, I'm going to sit the first segment out, Jay. No, about football.
And this is why we can't have nice things.
excited before. You guys mad because you lost? A bunch of losers.
No,
Actually, you're the one that's lying here, so who's the loser?
I'm not lying. I swear to God. I'm just saying though. But I'm also a very bad winner, so allow me to gloat for a second here. I
need to sit the first segment out because I don't follow football at all.
I mean, I've heard of having a rabbit's foot being lucky, but you got a monkey's anus.
You're lucky.
So go spank it.
Dude, you're luckier than George W. You're luckier than George W. Bush in Florida. Oh, you're luckier than George W. Bush was in Florida in 2000. I want to hear it.
I swear to God. That's funny though. It really is. Like you guys thought you're gonna get on here and you're gonna send me to the cleaners, and then I turned around and said you're both to the cleaners. Like that's kind of funny to me.
No, like I said, you sent yourself to the cleaners because you proved you're full of crap.
I haven't seen anything this funny since election night 2016.
I guess
God help us.
Thing with you guys all these years, you know, like you guys.
All right, let's call. You never pay attention. You never pay attention when we do. Go ahead, Matt. Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
I'm saying I've not seen anything this funny since last year's Super Bowl.
I ain't been depressed since the Super Bowl.
I'm paying attention to what I'm not. I may act like I'm not paying attention, but some of that stuff retains. I'm just saying.
I haven't been this depressed since the Dolphins took freaking Ted Ginn over Brady.
Well, I think we should get a prize for Matty here, for Matty Ice.
Let's give him a golf clap.
No, I'm gonna send him a box of pudding pops.
Oh, hey! Hey, wait a second! Hey, you're not funny. You're not funny at all.
I'll give you an autographed box of Flutie Flakes from the new 24/7 champ.
I deserve some kind of prize, though. I'm just saying.
Oh, you're getting pudding pops.
Let's bring our producer up. Let's bring. Yeah, they'll be melted by the time they reach St. Louis from Kentucky or Arizona. But hey, it's the thought that
not my problem. At least I sent him something. Not my problem.
That's true. I know what we can send them. Hey, I know what we can send them. I got the perfect gift, Joe. I got the perfect gift. You know what we can send them? I'm thinking we can send them a brand spanking new autographed inaugural ticket from the Walter Mondale 1984 presidential election committee.
Oh my God! I know. Yeah.
That would be great.
Who am I? What am I doing here?
Pretending to be George McGovern?
Oh my God!
Or is it Barry Goldwater?
I mean, people are accusing Joe Biden of being senile. They should have listened to Walter Mondale.
Where's the beef? I'll tell you what. No, here's what you get, dude. Here's what you get. You get a free round trip ticket all expenses paid on the monkey business. Now you'll have to go with Gary Hart and some woman named Donna, but it's all good. I hear Donna. Joe, you remember that trip, right? Gary Hart's he's a good guy, right?
Oh yeah.
Just don't let Donna sit on your lap.
No.
Might make Gary mad.
Making you look like fools is satisfaction enough.
No.
Can I have Kitty Dukakis? Can I take Kitty Dukakis on the trip with me?
I am loving this. I really am. I'm enjoying this far too much.
I feel like Alf. Now I know how Alf Landon felt in 1936.
What are you enjoying more, the fact that you won the competition, or the fact that you've outed yourself as a lying sack of crap?
Yeah,
the fact that you won the competition.
Yeah. Okay, Rick. Gave his chin on him the answer.
All right, let's ask the listener. Let's let the listeners decide. Do you all think that Matt just got lucky, or that he is a lying monkey anus?
I think he's a lying monkey's anus. I'll tell you what's happening here. Gabe was texting him the answers. Our producer Gabe was texting.
I swear to God, you're not.
There is Gabriel Anders. Gabriel Anders was texting him the answers. This is the biggest.
Art was probably sitting behind him.
That's right. Art and Gabe were there.
No, he's all by himself.
This is the biggest cover up since Watergate. Come on, this is horseshit. I mean, come on now. Gabe, you were channeling. This is a conspiracy.
I guess I'm just very, very, very lucky.
That was all Matt. That was all Matt.
This is a conspiracy theory.
Matt, I think you watch more sports than you.
Man, I ain't seen a cover up like this since Lars was trying to cover up the fact that he did adult movies.
No. Let's leave Lars out of this. He's been through enough. He's had a hard enough week.
Hard? Did you say hard?
We're spiraling out of control.
Yeah. All right, let's write it in.
Hey, Gabe. So since you don't know nothing about sports, I think you get the number one overall pick in our fantasy baseball league. We're going to be starting up here on RGTR. It's coming up here in a few weeks. I'll be setting it up on Yahoo. If you are interested, let us know here. We're going to take this home. Not you're the luckiest son of a bitch alive. I swear to God. When we come back, we'll have segment number 6 to this show that spiraled quickly out of control and down the drain. You're listening to the Wrestling Jam session here on RGTR.
You're listening to only the best internet radio station in the world. No, the universe.
You're listening to RGTR, Red Go Talk Radio.
The hottest new talents in pro wrestling today are in the Arizona Wrestling Federation. Subscribe today for all the action. YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling AZ. Catch the excitement.
Previously on Broken Link Radio.
Jim, do you have any idea what's going on with Kim Jong-un right now? Everything's cool.
Oh, all good.
He was hiding from coronavirus. As an intelligence officer, if you can't tell if somebody's dead or alive, that's pretty rough. That's a big miss.
That's pretty big. So he's going to get anti-aircraft artillery, but it's based on like a group of like a Jewish guy or like a Jewish group of, I don't know if they're spies or what. It was a tab that I created. And
Broken Link Radio.
You know that I'm greedy for love.
Be sure to check out Arizona Wrestling Federation action on February 13th as the AWF returns to the AWF Arena in Phoenix with dire consequence. Buy tickets now at ArizonaWrestlingFederation.com. Hey everybody, this is JP, the Man of Steel here on RGTR. If you enjoy what you hear on my sports updates, hey, be sure to join me starting on February 18th as I'll be joined by Paul Baker and U.S. Army soldier Jordan Cruz as we discuss all the latest and greatest sports happenings from Major League Baseball, the National Hockey League, the National Football League, and the National Basketball Association right here on RGTR with Kings at the Round Table. You're going to get sports discussion and a roundtable discussion that is truly fit for a king. Again, check out Kings at the Round Table every Thursday night starting on February 18th right here on RGTR, Sports That Matter.
You're listening to RGTR, Red Go Talk Radio.
I have a hunch that we're going to hear about Matt Lindsay's Al Bundy moment on this radio show for the rest of the time, Joe Violet. See, during the break, his dad, our fourth co-host, our dog, Arthur Quinn.
Hey, how y'all doing today?
What's up, my brother? So your son pulled the biggest horseshoe out of his ass known to humankind when we did a sports game, and he's been running his mouth about it for an hour ever since. I have a feeling we're never going to hear the end of it. He had a better night than He had a better night than Patrick Mahomes did.
He's now.
They're not going to hear the end of it. I can tell you something. I'm a very bad winner.
You're also a terrible. He's what?
Yeah, he's the sorest winner and the sorest loser that you'll ever meet.
He's also
so at least I won, so I don't have to mope around here for the rest of the show, because that's what's going to happen if I would have lost. Y'all would have got the boo me version of me.
It's even worse if he wins, because he's going to come with the overconfidence. Even worse when he loses, because he comes with the moping.
Well, he's a sore liar too. He's a terrible liar. He cheated.
I'm not lying to you people.
Oh, so he's just emotionally extreme.
Okay, so what you're saying is we would have either seen the lion heart or the crying heart.
See, that's the whole thing. Is hold up, yeah. That's the whole thing.
I'm not lying to you.
The whole thing
I have to publicly. First, I have to publicly apologize to Edge because I was completely against him winning the Royal Rumble. But I see what you're doing, brother.
Yeah, after this
I see what you're doing.
I am completely 100% with him going forward. I mean, if he's going to be there, that changes everything.
Because basically, he's making stars. It takes an old star to make a new star. And there's not enough of the older guys to kind of bring these guys up. And Edge is doing that right now. With his Royal Rumble win, it kind of gives him credibility to do that. So he's giving Damian Priest a rub. He's giving Finn Balor a rub. He's giving Pete Dunne a rub. He's giving Roman the rub. Like, this dude is going around to every single show. So my bad, Edge. I see what you're doing.
Yeah, we get it now.
And you know what? Rhea Ripley's going to win the Royal Rumble next year, and the Big J Buski's going to go down to NXT, and she's going to give me the rub. Oh, wait, never mind.
Right now, Mia's giving Xavier the rub.
Anyhow, since we're on the topic of Edge, I want to get to that in a couple minutes. But, we're not salty about Matt winning anymore because, at least somebody in Missouri had to win tonight because, God forbid, the Chief broke my heart over freaking having to suffer with Tom Brady at the Super Bowl. So, Matt, there's a lot of saintly names in the St. Louis area. I know there's St. Robert and St. Louis, and I know a little bit over the bridge there. There's St. Elmo in Illinois. So Joe and I, we talked off the break, since, right before you got on there when you were out feeding the dog and wiping your ass and doing whatever you were in that 20-minute break when you were away and looking at pictures of Sasha and doing whatever it is you did in your 20-minute break. So Matt and I decided, I'm a saintly individual. I'm a registered preacher online, on one of those freebie websites that you can register to be a preacher. So I've decided I'm going to
ordained minister in the building.
An ordained minister, so I have the power to anoint you sainthood. So Matt, I now anoint you Saint Matthias, and Joseph here, Saint Joseph, he decided to anoint you with your own little nickname. So Joe, he is now Saint Matthew. What is he? What is he? Saint Matthew what? Saint Matthias what?
Saint Matthias the Lionheart.
The Lionheart. There you go. So see, because you won, you got a prize. You got sainthood. You're now the Lionheart. So there you go. That's your grand prize.
I appreciate that.
I smell a new creation on every game that we make.
I appreciate that. Well, I was just going to say, making you two look like fools was a joy enough for me, but I like this nickname. I'm going to keep it. Thank you.
Just make sure you spell the Lyin part right, not lion like you roar, lion like you're full of shit.
Absolutely.
Well, let's chat up a little bit about.
By the way, I want to speak on the Super Bowl right fast.
Please.
This guy Tom Brady, dude. We are living in the age of greatness because 10 Super Bowl appearances and 7 rings is unheard of. This is going to go down in history as the greatest, probably, athlete of all time. And people liked to give Bill Belichick all the roses, but Belichick couldn't even make it to the playoffs without Brady.
No. Look, I'm going to say this, and you and I, okay, we're going to show our age here, okay? We saw Joe Montana at his glory, right? Joe Montana went to 4 Super Bowls. 4 Super Bowls. He left San Francisco, went to Kansas City, could not get past the AFC second round of the playoffs, okay? We saw Michael Jordan at his glory. 6 championships. Nothing to sneeze at. Tom Brady, he went to the Washington Wizards, by the way, it was a disaster. Tom Brady, 6 Super Bowls with New England, 43 years old, goes to a different team, a different system, a different organization. Now, granted, it's not like he's throwing to 6 bums and a couple of, crab fishermen off the Biscayne Bay, but still, different system, different team, 43 years old. And he puts up a Super Bowl season in his first year in Tampa Bay. He is the greatest quarterback that ever lived. And I'm not a Tom Brady fan.
He might be. I am not a Tom Brady fan at all, but he might be the greatest athlete ever. It's hard to argue against him. The only person that might be up there with him is Mayweather.
Sure. And I mean, it's tough to even argue, though, Mayweather, because let's be honest, boxing is a one-on-one sport. I get that. But football is it is a team sport to where if you're having a crappy night, your team can bail you out. But look at Mahomes tonight, though. Look at Mahomes. And everybody's going to say, well, Pat played like crap. No, he didn't. Now, Pat wasn't Pat. Patrick Mahomes wasn't the Patrick Mahomes we've seen throughout his career. And this kid's going to do great things. Look, he is just getting started. There are going to be many more Super Bowls for Patrick Mahomes in that young man's career. Patrick Mahomes is one human being, but you can't do much when you're running for your life out there. But that guy was making throws that, frankly, no other quarterback is going to make under the same circumstance. Okay, Tom Brady proved though that look, you can. Who says you can't teach an old dog new tricks? Right? He went in there against the best, the next great thing. The next great thing. Patrick Mahomes is the next.
Right. Everybody's calling him the next Tom Brady.
Sure. And I'd say the next great thing, he's pretty gosh damn good right now. Right? Patrick Mahomes right now is elite at 25 years old. As I said, he'll win another 2 or 3 Super Bowls when it's all said and done. I have no doubt in my mind. And people don't understand. It is brutal too. There's a reason we've had one team repeat as a Super Bowl winner since going back to the Dallas Cowboys. We've had one repeat Super Bowl winner since 1998. One. After the Denver Broncos. That's nearly impossible to do. He'll be back. But the thing is, Tom Brady went out there against an elite quarterback, against a rough, brutal offense that's nearly impossible to stop. And he went out there and did the damn thing. And kudos to Tampa Bay's defense. Kudos to Tampa Bay's defense. If you can hold Pat Mahomes to 9 points, okay? And by the way, Mahomes had 270 yards, okay? You know how many yards he had going into the fourth quarter, Art? 80.
Yeah.
They held Pat Mahomes for 3 quarters to 80 yards. He had essentially, and I use this term, it sounds crass, Pat Mahomes had 3 quarters of his passing yards in garbage time when the game was out of reach. That's a defensive effort for the ages that Todd Bowles deserves a ton of credit for.
Definitely. So, I mean, what else can you say about him, dude? I'm just glad I got to witness it, because if you were to tell somebody that someone had 7 Super Bowl rings, they would not believe you.
No. And like I was saying to the gentleman earlier tonight, Tom Brady, this was his biggest. The funny thing is, if you look at numbers alone, the passing yards, this was probably, in terms of passing yards and even touchdowns, one of his worst total, yardage, probably one of the worst Super Bowl performances he's had since the first Super Bowl win. The numbers weren't impressive at all, but he won and he delivered. And it's weird to say, number wise, you measure these up against the Atlanta Super Bowl win, the Seattle Super Bowl win, even the one against the Rams. They didn't measure up. But this was the most decisive Super Bowl win of Tom Brady's career. His Super Bowl wins prior to this, 3 points, 10 points, against the Rams, 7 points against Atlanta, 6 points against Atlanta. This is a guy whose Super Bowl wins were usually under a touchdown or less.
Right.
They went out there and kicked the shit out of Kansas City. They beat the brakes off of a dominant Kansas City team. And you know what? Brady maybe wasn't putting up 400 yards, but he certainly did what he needed to do when he needed to do it and got them in a position to win. And put up the yards enough to put up, that 31 points on the board. That's nothing to sneeze at, man. 3 touchdowns, can't beat it.
Right. Now the question is, does he keep going?
He said after the Super Bowl he's still going. He said he's still, he said he's the question is, I just wonder for how long. I mean,
he's 43 now.
No.
I don't think he's George Foreman.
No. Here's my question for you. He's got more Super Bowls than any other team. He alone has 7. The Steelers and Patriots have 6. He's proven you can win all this horse manure talk, all this garbage talk that he's a system quarterback. He shot that in the ass. He's proven he can win without Bill Belichick, not the other way around.
Right.
Does he win one more? Does he walk away then? I mean, I'd rather walk. To me, yeah, he put up 4,600 yards, and everybody says keep going until the wheels. Keep going as long as you can. I'm of the old school variety. Go when you're on top. I don't want to see him become Peyton Manning, and I'm not a Tom.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want to see him become a shell of himself. I mean, he's already 43 years old, and even though he won, as you can see, his performance is starting to decrease.
That's right.
I mean, you can't fight Father Time.
It's true.
It's unbeaten, dude. It's unbeaten in every sport. I mean, I can think of very few exceptions. I'm sure there's one or two out there, and I had some people tell me this.
Sure.
That there were rare exceptions. People brought up John Elway, but even if you look at John Elway when he walked away, his numbers took a big time decrease. Now, was it embarrassingly bad? No, but the slippage was there, and Elway realized it's time for me to get while the getting's good. All right. I mean, I'm looking. I've rarely seen player. I mean, some people realize that it's time to get out while they still can before they completely make a mockery of themselves. Peyton Manning walked away with a Super Bowl win. That Peyton Manning was at the when Peyton Manning won the Super Bowl at Super Bowl 50. Was at the Peyton Manning we knew and loved. He was a shell of it. Drew Brees this year, Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, you could say, Gabe, chime in on here. Phillip Rivers is walking away. I know you're a Charger fan. He's walking away off a 4,600 yard season, but he's walking away. But he never won the big one. I mean, it's just you see these guys put up these.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's hard to argue against someone when they've won so many times.
I'm such a notorious Tom Brady, and I not the man. And when I say this, Tom Brady, the athlete, I respect the hell out of him. I can't. I'd have loved this guy who was a Miami Dolphin. I'll point blank say that. I'm a Miami Dolphin fan. I'd have loved this guy if he was a Dolphin. I'd have loved him if he was a Steeler. Straight up. It's ingrained in my mind to despise Tom Brady, the athlete, not the man. He's the guy you love to hate. You know what I mean? He's that athlete you love to hate. But I don't want to see his career end like so many others. I don't want to see him, were you around when Joe Namath played?
I was.
You're okay. So you remember Joe Namath?
Yeah, I'm close to 40, bro.
Okay. So you remember Joe? I mean, you just see so many of these guys, man. You've seen so many of these athletes just go somewhere else, and they were just great, and they stunk at the end. I mean, we'll use a wrestling analogy here. The Undertaker. Who wants to think of the Undertaker at the end? We want to think of Ric Flair. Exactly.
Yeah.
We want to think of Ric Flair.
In the beginning, you had one of the most insane athletes that you've ever seen. Big guy, could walk across ropes and all that. And towards the end, Goldberg almost killed him.
Exactly.
Super Showdown. We had 4 of the 4 big names in wrestling put on a stinker. one of which came out of retirement.
And the only one that looked worth a
DX
rat's
and the
ass
Brothers
was-
of Destruction.
You got it.
And sadly, the only one that looked like he had a pulse left in there was a guy that had been retired for a decade. I mean, and even he
Sean.
would shell himself. I mean, none of us want to see our heroes fade off, and we don't want to see them gone, but we don't want to see them a shell of themselves and fade off into the spotlight. You know what? And I mean, Tom Brady's not a hero of mine. I'm not. I despise when I see people go on there when they retire. Hey, who's my favorite player? No, not at all. But I want to see Tom Brady at least go out with dignity. And this is it, man. This is it. You will not.
Yeah, I think he should call it quits now.
Yeah, I definitely get where you guys are coming from. You know, you want to go out on top while you still look good.
I mean, to retire with the championship is something special.
And not keep playing until you don't look so good anymore, you know?
You don't want people to remember the last end of your career. You want them to remember the best parts of your career. And right now, it's probably one of the highlights of Tom Brady's career, winning his 7th ring at 43 years old with a brand new team. Basically solidifies him as the greatest quarterback of all time. Let it go.
Yeah. There's nothing else you can. You pretty much done it all now.
Yeah, let it go.
Oh, well, here's what I mean. I said this after the Atlanta Super Bowl when they were down 28-3. They pulled the comeback. I said he ain't going to get much better than this. But then he had 5 Super Bowls, and I'm like, all right, he wants to stick around for 6. Cool. I get it. They won 6 against the Rams. That game sucked. Let's just call it as it is. That game sucked. It was, Then you started to see slippage over the last couple of years. Last year was rough, and the bad receivers, blah, blah, blah. But I'm of the belief that a great quarterback makes bad wide receivers good. I mean, look at what Deshaun Watson's doing with, guys that should be playing for, playing for USFL, playing for Arena Football League teams, right? But I digress. But I mean, look what Mahomes does with those guys in Kansas City. But I also realize Tom Brady's 42. Well, he goes to a perfect situation in Tampa Bay where they've got 2 elite wide receivers, and then they bring in Antonio Brown, who, despite his shenanigans and the horse shit he pulled in Pittsburgh, he's still a talented wide receiver. I'll give the devil his due. He goes in there and he puts up a great season, leads him to a Super Bowl. I mean, and the thing is, this was a personal thing for Tom. This was probably, I'll tell you right now, this was probably the Super Bowl he cherished the most. And I'll tell you why. The team he put on the map. Okay. You spend 30 years building an empire, 20 years building an empire with somebody. You married a girl that nobody gave a shit. You picked the ugly girl in school, right? You pick the ugliest girl in school. She suddenly becomes beautiful. She becomes a stunning swan. She becomes a stunning knockout, right? She becomes Sophia Loren. You build a beautiful dynasty together, right? You build a brand new home, you build your own business, you have 2 great kids that become Harvard law students. All of a sudden she finds somebody else better and kicks your ass out. That's Tom Brady. That's what the New England Patriots did to Tom Brady.
And
I remember times where the Patriots were.
He took a pay cut for them.
For years he did. He bent over, he took pay cuts time after time after time. And they kicked his ass to the curb. He was, the wife found the 23-year-old beefcake, in this case. She found the 22-year-old bodybuilder frat boy that was fresh out of Yale and kicked old Tom to the curb. Well, this was personal to Tom. And that's why I think this Super Bowl meant more to him than any of his other ones did, because he stuck his middle finger in the air to Bob Kraft and Bill Belichick, saying, I can do this bullshit without you. I didn't need you to win the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
You needed me. By the way, enjoy that 7-9 season while you're picking the top 12 in the draft. But you've proven it, bro. You've proven you didn't need the Patriots needed you more than you needed them. Just like you've proven the doubters wrong your entire career. What else do you have to prove?
Hey JP, I heard a name and I wanted to ask you a question about it. Charlemagne the God from the Breakfast Club gave Brett Favre Donkey of the Day for his comments about Deshaun Watson, saying that he's a hypocrite. How do you feel about that?
He's 100% right. He is 100% right, because you know what? Let me tell you something a little bit about Brett Favre here. Okay. Brett Favre has the absolute unmitigated balls to go on there and talk about how Deshaun Watson shouldn't demand a trade. Deshaun Watson, when he signs a contract, and let me tell you people a little story about this, okay? All you people that are sitting there, Deshaun Watson's paid good money to play football. Deshaun Watson also was given guarantees when he signed his contract extension. And if you think quarterbacks don't have clout and say what happens in personnel decisions, you don't know the sport or the business side as much as you think you do, okay? The Texans organization backed out on many promises they made this guy. And for Brett Favre, okay, who drug his ass across the carpet more than a cat with ringworm every day for years after the Green Bay Packers drafted Aaron Rodgers and threatened retirement in 2005, 2006, and 2007, okay, before finally getting traded to the New York Jets, okay, for him to sit there and talk about anybody, saying, be quiet and don't demand a trade, sit your stupid ass down. You're a hypocrite. You did the same garbage for years in Green Bay. You drug your ass across the rug. You acted like a petulant fool when you weren't whipping your Peter out and sending your pictures to Jen Sturger and harassing reporters. Okay. At least Deshaun Watson did it with integrity. So, for you to sit there and claim that he shouldn't say anything when you're guilty of doing the same damn thing, sit your ass down, Brett. You're a hypocrite. You're a fool, and you don't have a foot to stand on. Be quiet. Be quiet.
And there's one line that he said that really, really pissed me off. And he said, well, they make too much money to have an opinion. That pissed me off.
Okay, Brett, like you were paid pennies on the dollar, right? Like you were paid pennies on the dollar. Oh, and by the way, Dick Vermeil, you can sit your stupid ass down too. Last I checked, you left the St. Louis Rams because you claimed you had heart problems and you wound up going to Kansas City 6 months later. Sit down. Oh, by the way, you left the Philadelphia Eagles too in 1980 after a Super Bowl win, after a Super Bowl appearance, and you lost because you felt like you were getting fatigued. Both you can shut up. Nice way to close the show, right? No, you know what it is?
I just wanted to ask you about that.
No, it's a perfect validating point. It pisses me off the hypocrisy of these people. Well, we make good money. You make good money, yeah, Brett, because you went to the poorhouse, right? You were making minimum wage, right? Get. You know where I'm going with this. You can sit your southern fried ass down on the bench, and you can sit there and watch Deshaun Watson take the NFL by storm and do things that you never did, and that's play with class, play with dignity, and actually not drag his ass across the carpet and threaten retirement every year. Fool.
Right. It's really crazy how these analysts get up there, get on the microphone, and forget everything they did their whole career.
Maybe Brett Favre should quit. I'm not going to. It's funny. It's just like the same thing about these people. It's just like it's the same mentality. Shut up and dribble, but it's okay when Drew. You know where I'm going with this one. I mean, is it really a problem, Dick Vermeil? Is it really a problem, Brett Favre? Was it really a problem? That a quarterback has an issue with the organization mistreating him? Would it really be a problem? Would it be a problem if Baker Mayfield was doing the same thing? Or do you have a problem with an outspoken African-American man running his mouth? Gee, let's stop and think about that narrative. Or let's be grateful that, somebody in your position, it's exactly what it sounds like. Let's be thankful that somebody in your position is actually given an opportunity. Shut up and deal with it. Well, that's not how it works, fool. You were granted the same opportunity.
Brought in to kind of be an analyst, not to be an opinion maker, not to tell someone what they should be doing.
Well, you know what? You certainly, you're born into being an analyst.
You're not supposed to be the one to tell people how to run their career.
Well, you ain't his daddy, okay? And if you were his daddy, it's called lead by example. And you know what? The example you set when you were in Green Bay, and then you did the same horse shit with the Jets, set no example. So you know what? The only thing you sound like you don't sound like an analyst right now. You sound like something you take the LYST out. You sound like anal. So, sit down and be quiet. And by the way, WWE, speaking of anal, I'm going to close this podcast out. WWE
JP,
just made the
dog, you need to be on stage with these punchlines, bro. You a straight up comedian. And that was a thing right there.
That's what my wife says too. That's what my wife says to me all the time too. When I ask her if she, wants to come and give me a kiss, Real quick, before we wrap it up, though, folks, I want to give WWE credit for teaming up Lana and Naomi. You reverse their names backwards, and you spell their names backwards. You got the greatest tag team ever. Here's another joke for you. Spell it out, folks. You get a good kick out of it. Hey guys, we got to wrap it up. I'm getting yelled at, but Art, it's good to talk to you as always, my brother. We'll start the show early next week so you can come on and some hell, my brother.
Definitely. I mean, I got to be at work in like an hour, but I had to get up and at least get a segment in with you guys.
Well, it's not the jam session without the A.
All day. All day.
Well, see, it's jam. It's J. It's J for JP, Joe, and then it's A for Art, and it's M for Matt. We can't be the jam session without the A. So, it's good to have you on, my brother, and have a good day at work. Jam. Hey, guys, it's been one hell of a show, folks. We've had a better night than Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. That's for damn sure. But be sure to tune in. Be sure to tune in next Sunday night. We're going to start a little early so we can have our dog for the full 2-hour tour of madness and insanity. And the one show that makes the voices in Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Berbert's head spin. We're the greatest crazy show. We're a crazier show than QAnon and all those other clowns combined. But you know what? We're certifiably insane, but we're certifiably insane in a good way. It's the Pro Wrestling Jam Session here on the one and only RGTR Radio. Good night, everybody.